Good evening and welcome to the Eastchester Board of Fire Commissioners Annual Budget Hearing. We'll rise for a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to open the budget meeting?
I make a motion we open the budget meeting.
And that is
Second.
seconded by Peter. Okay. Excuse me? Okay, so tonight we have our annual budget hearing. This day is selected by New York State town law. The third Tuesday in October, you have to hold a budget hearing if you're a fire district in New York State. Prior to this meeting, this hearing, we would have had to have a proposed budget already in the public, and we did that at our last meeting back on September 22nd. So we have a proposed budget. Tonight's the budget hearing, and so people can have the opportunity to comment or vent on the budget or whatever they'd like to do. And tonight we're going to ask our treasurer, Mrs. Jamie Hemstrom, to approach the podium and present the budget. Copies of the budget are up front for those who haven't got a copy. And if you want a copy of the budget, email the fire department, we'll get you a copy or stop by.
Thanks, Dennis.
Okay.
So for the 2017 proposed budget, which we discussed at the September 22nd meeting, we've had no changes have been made to the budget since our last meeting. Just as a recap for those who haven't been watching, the budget this year, we have proposed a tax increase of 2.3%, which will keep us within the tax cap. Just as a reminder, the New York State tax cap this year, we were limited to a 0.88% increase in taxes. However, because we've been able to stay under this tax cap for a few years, we had a carryover available to us, which we will be taking advantage of this year, which is why we're able to stay under the tax cap. The major increases for the 2017 budget primarily are related to our health care and our pension contributions. We were notified by our health care provider that they're anticipating over 9% increases in premiums for the next year. The pension, the rates are also going up, and they've changed their method of calculating your amount of contribution. They've basically advanced it a year. They used to use historical year salaries as the basis for determining your contribution, and now they're going to use the current year salaries, the thought being that the salaries are increasing, so we'll have a higher base on which they're going to calculate our contribution. We are also, in contract negotiations, and so, there may be increases related to that as a salary and the related benefits. We are in the process of, we've taken on a renovation of our Chester Heights Fire Station, and we are also looking to replace a lot of our old apparatus. So these are the budget increases, the major budget increases that we're taking into consideration for the 2017 budget. Some areas where we were able to reduce the budget our CERT expenses. We've done an analysis of what they've been historically, and we were able to get some savings there. We also, the board has abolished the assistant chief position this year, which has savings of approximately $230,000 associated with it. We have reduced our apparatus reserve contribution because we did make a significant contribution in 2016. And we were able to reduce the amount of certain 207A2 payments that are made to our retired disabled firefighters.
Okay, and so we should note, because we have it down here, the age of our fire apparatus. We have a number of pieces that were built by American LaFrance. American LaFrance is currently out of business. They ceased operations, so we have 4 pieces of apparatus that were built by them. And three of our pumpers were built between 2000 and 2001. So we're going to be looking to replace those in the next year. There was some discussion last month's meeting about bonding and possibly bonding out those rigs and leasing. I think Commissioner Inkledon and I have researched that a little further and decided it's probably better off just using our cash on hand.
Yeah.
Yep. So we're going to be between this time next year, we hope to have 3 new pieces of apparatus somewhere around this time frame on the, in possession. It probably takes about a year to build. Is that about right?
It's about a 9 to 11 month build time. And so if we can get a spec and order it within the next couple of months, yeah, we should have it within a year.
Yep. So on the overall budget, Jamie, it looks like we're, this is our 3rd year in a row now. You weren't here the last 2 years, but it'll be our 3rd year in a row. We'll be under the tax cap, which is commendable. I think the board deserves credit for doing that, and the chief as well. And so I think we're looking good in that sense. If anybody has any comments on the board about the budget, I'd like to hear them. Before we go there, I just want to make a comment. We did, prior to this meeting, publish in the Journal News an official budget announcement that was published in the Journal News. Mary Lou Falcone put that in the Journal News as our secretary. We also got an affidavit back from them that it was run when it was supposed to be run. So that was all done, and we'll incorporate that in our minutes. So any more questions for Jamie or any board comments or?
No.
I think we're in good shape, and thank you very much, and I'll look for public comments if anybody has any public comments. Okay, approach the podium.
Hello, Commissioners. Anthony Fiore, Village of Tuckahoe. How are we all doing tonight? On the 3 apparatus that you're going to get, are you going to sell them privately? You're going to keep one as another spare?
Are we going to, well, when we buy the new apparatus, Engine 28, which you're probably familiar with,
Yeah,
which is the
that
green
neon
monster as
yellow.
it's referred to, which is about 25
Yeah.
years old or something, that we're going to sell. And we're probably going to sell off 2 of the American LaFrance pumpers. Which one the chief determines to hang on to, we'll figure that out. But we'll hang on to one of the American LaFrance pumpers. At that point in time, after we buy 3 new pieces of apparatus, our fleet will be relatively new for pumpers, and we'll be probably in the stage where we'll be looking for a ladder truck this time next year.
Okay, that's it.
Is that
Thanks.
fair?
Good question.
So what more do we have on the budget? If anybody would like a copy of our budget, email the fire district, like I said before. We're going to provide a copy to the town clerk and the 2 village clerks, and I'll read a resolution to move forward on the budget.
Okay, then.
Okay.
This is my favorite part. Thank you.
I'm going to find my budget notes. Okay. Here's the budget resolution. One of you gentlemen can adopt it. And whereas the Board of Fire Commissioners, the Eastchester Fire District must adopt a budget for 2017 and estimate the fund balances in preparation for the annual Fire District budget hearing, and did so in preparation for the hearing. Whereas the Board of Fire Commissioners, the Eastchester Fire District held its annual budget hearing with notice to the public on April 18, 2016, which is tonight. Whereas the board has considered the proposed budget, comments on, and proposed budget on October 18, 2016. And at said budget hearing, whereas the board has determined the financial needs of the fire district and the fire department for fiscal year 2017 can be supported by the budget that would comply with the real property tax cap established pursuant to Section 3-C of the New York State Municipal Law. At the proposed budget hearing, proposed budget for 2016 calls for a property tax cap levy that will not exceed the property tax cap limit of 240, cap limit. Okay? Now whereas be it resolved, the Eastchester Board of Fire Commissioners hereby approves the final budget of the Eastchester Fire District for 2017, attached hereto and made part thereof for $16,864,725, spot 75 cents. I'll repeat it again. $16,864,725,000, spot 75. So I look for a motion from one of you gentlemen to approve that.
I'll make the motion.
Mr. Inkledon, and a second?
I'll second it.
Second Baker. I'll take a roll call vote. Mr. Laurie?
Aye.
Mr. Baker?
Aye.
Mr. Inkledon?
Aye.
And I'll say aye. Motion carries. Budget passed. Jamie, thank you very much for doing this. Thank Mary Lou Falcone for all her efforts. Thank the chief and everybody who put it together. It was a good effort. And once again, everything's nice and neat and in a timely manner. So that's all good. Now, we can move right to our regular monthly meeting. I don't think we have another Pledge of Allegiance or a meeting. We can just go right to the regular monthly meeting. Is that okay with everyone?
I make a motion, we close the budget portion.
Okay, make a motion to close the budget portion. Require me to do more writing, but I will.
Well,
Okay, motion to close the budget portion is fine.
devil's in the details.
Yes. And that's Mr. Baker. And a second on that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
And I'll say aye. And that was Peter. Close. Okay, so now I'm looking for a motion to open up the monthly regular meeting for the Eastchester Board of Fire Commissioners.
I'd like to make a motion to open up the regular meeting.
Okay, and a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So it's Peter
Yeah, it's the last motion I'm making tonight. You're on your own.
and Baker. Okay, now I'm on my own. Okay. Tonight's order of business, we have to adopt we have one set of minutes to adopt from the September 22nd board meeting, and I'd look for a motion to adopt those minutes.
I'll make the motion to adopt them.
And Peter, and do I get a second?
Aye.
Commissioner Laurie, okay. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Fire District Annual Election. We're going to skip now to the annual election and go to the rest of the agenda shortly thereafter. So I would like to do the election material first. Every year we have a fire district election. Every year it's the second Tuesday in December. We've tried for years to move that to November with Westchester County Board of Elections, and we had the law passed, the governor signed it, and Westchester County Board of Elections has refused to allow us to do a November election. We would prefer if they would allow us to do a November election. They continually refuse, even though in New York State law would allow us to do it. So, once again this year, we're going to have a December election. It's for a fire commissioner serving a 5-year term. Fire commissioner receives no compensation, no benefits, you do it for pure public service. That's the role of this board.
And an annual dinner.
And an annual dinner. You do get an annual dinner, which we haven't done in a few years. We'll do it again.
Right.
And so that's what you get. So, so this year's election will be on December 13th between 2 and 9. And last year's commission of election was Tom Andres, who gets helped extensively by Mary Lou Falcone in the office to do all that work for this election. It's a very, very large task getting it all done. Last year, I think 1,600 people voted or something like that in town, which is a very large number for a fire district election, not a large number relative to the township, but it's a large number for a fire district election. So without further ado, I'll introduce Tom Andres, and he can give us a little color as to how we move forward here, and I have all the resolutions to look at.
Good evening. As the Commissioner said, I'm Tom Andrus. I live on Shady Lane in the north end of Eastchester, and I am coordinating the election again this year, which will be held on December 13th. Just want to take this opportunity to update the Commissioners on the election plans, because we were kind of up in the air for a while about how to do this, and we've finally decided. And what we've decided to do is to use the scanner voting machines that are recommended by the County Board of Elections. Rationale for making this decision is based on several factors. There's no manual counting of ballots involved. There will be fewer security issues. The machines and certified inspectors are available to us. The Board of Elections will provide support for anything that we need. And the costs are similar to using paper ballots and the ballot boxes. It's roughly $7,500 for an election. The costs are different, but they work out, the totals work out about the same. And I guess the major reason is that going forward, this is a better way of doing it, that eventually the fire district and all other special districts, election districts in the state of New York are going to have to bite the bullet and change to the new machines. So we may as well get this done, and it'll set a good precedent for going forward. Otherwise, we'd have the ballot boxes and paper ballots next year and the year after and so forth. The problems would not go away. So that's what we've decided to do, and to put that process in action, we've requested the voting machines from the Board of Elections and the other items. We need privacy booths because it's going to be coloring in its little circles on the ballots. And what they will send us when they receive our request, they'll send us a confirmation, which is also going to include a contract for you commissioners to review and approve. And that contract is going to include the responsibilities, who does what, the contacts within the Board of Elections that we can use, the approved movers to move the equipment, the approved printers to print the ballots. And we'll use the same polling places as we've used in the past: Eastchester Town Hall, the Tuckahoe Community Center, the Leroy Gregory American Legion Post, the Union Corners Firehouse, and this building, the Bronxville Village Hall. And we have that in process, confirming those locations. We're also contacting the inspectors, or Mary Lou is, from our certified inspector list that we got from the Board of Elections. Again, the voting hours, as the commissioner said, are from 2 to 9, and the inspectors will basically work 2 3.5-hour shifts to cover that 7-hour period. We're also looking at the changes that we need to make to documents and to processes to go from one machine to the other, and that's what we're doing now. And we are in contact with the Board of Elections. They've been very upfront and helpful to us so far. So I think at this point we're in pretty good shape to go forward.
Okay.
Are there any questions? Does anybody have any?
Now, and we're using the electronic machines that people are familiar with from the general elections, because the green machines that the school district and we used to use have been outlawed by New York State.
Correct.
So we're not allowed to use those anymore. So we're forced to use the newer technology and can't use the old mechanical, very reliable, great machines. We have to use the new electronic ones.
Yes.
Yes. So, okay. I have a series of resolutions. Tom has done a lot of work with Mary Lou Falcone to organize all this. And so, because our window is very short, if anyone's interested in running for fire commissioner, you have to bring your petition with 25 names on it to the fire district headquarters by, I think the date is, I have it here in these minutes, November 23rd, that's what I guessed.
The 22nd or 23rd. It's 20 days before the election.
Yeah, was it the 23rd?
I'm not sure. It's one of either 22nd or 23rd.
23rd, yeah. It's the Wednesday of that week. Whatever the Wednesday of the Thanksgiving week is, that's what it is.
And it's not just 25 signatures, they have to be
Registered voters.
registered voters in the fire district.
Correct. Yep. Should be the 21st. Is that the 21st?
Wednesday is the 23rd.
23rd, Wednesday the 23rd. Okay, so Tom, that sounds all good, and we'll go through these resolutions so we can get the ball moving.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Has anybody filed for commissioners yet?
No, no one has filed yet. This year, Commissioner Napolitano is up for re-election. The way the board, I'll give the stacking of the board so people understand the stacking of the board. Commissioner Napolitano is up this year. Next year, it would be Commissioner Baker. The following year would be Commissioner Inkledon. The following year would be Commissioner Laurie, and then I would be up on the 5th year.
Right, so
That's how the
one
stacking-
person per year.
One person per year. That's how the stacking works. And so, and the only thing will be on the ballot will be a fire commissioner. There'll be no budget votes on the ballot, as far as, there's no budget voting on the ballot, and there is no, we're not going to have any bonding on the ballot. so it will only be a fire commissioner on the ballot. That's it. There won't be any other extraneous voting to do, so.
Just as an add-on to that, this is not understood by many people, even political people that we've talked to. They don't realize that that's all there is that's on the ballot.
Yes, and because the budget, as we just approved the budget right now, the mechanics of that are we submit that budget to the town clerk, and that's effectively submitting a bill to the town clerk. And the town clerk then passes that on to the tax assessor, who then assigns the tax levy, who then, and come May, the treasurer of the town will wire our treasurer the proceeds from the tax bill thereabouts. Right. And that's how it works. There is no voting, there is no, the public forum was tonight. That was it on the budget. And so that's how the system works. It's unlike a school district where you go in May and vote. This is not how fire districts work. You're basically relying on the good judgment of the commissioner you hire to monitor your tax bill. Basically, that's it. He can level taxes just by, a vote tonight. And that's how your tax levy happens.
Which is also one of the reasons why we try to get this election moved to November, when there's more visibility for it, but the Westchester County Board of Elections keeps not acting on it. When the law that was passed says that both members of that commission must approve any changes, correct?
Yeah, they said that in order to be on the ballot, it needs the blessing of the Westchester County Board of Elections, which is basically the head of the Republican Party and the head of the Democratic Party. That's how you get on Westchester County Board of Elections, after you're approved by the Westchester County Board of Legislators. So they're appointed by the Westchester County legislators, but they appoint the head of both political parties. And that's how it works.
Yes.
So, all good, Tom. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Okay, so appointment of a Board of Elections. Okay, whereas Section 175A, Town Law provides for a system of registration for fire district elections, whereas a registered or eligible fire district voters must be prepared prior to fire district election, whereas such registration shall be prepared from names of persons who have been registered with Westchester County Board of Elections. Whereas, be it resolved that the following resident elections be the Eastchester Fire District Board of Electors for 2016, and that's Tom Andres will be appointed. He will be it further resolved, the chairman of elections should be compensated $50 for his services. Again, New York State town law dictates $50. The following be appointed as election inspectors at the fire district election to be held on Tuesday, December 18th, 2016, and they will be compensated in the amount of $50. Again, New York State law. Westchester County Board of Elections has supplied a list of approved election inspectors to utilize electronic voting machines, copy attached. So we'll be using that list of authorized people who know how to use the electronic machines. And be it further resolved that in case any member appointed hereto are unable or refuse to assume the duties required of them, this Board of Fire Commissioners or election chairman may appoint alternatives who are residents or electors and reassign locations as needed. So that would be the resolution to basically utilize this list of authorized election inspectors we got from the county, and have Tom supervise the election. So do I have a motion on that?
So pretty much it's what we did last year, same locations, same people, Tom.
It might be slightly different people depending if they're on
On
this
that list or not, but.
Correct.
And it's the same voting locations.
Same voting locations. We're going to do that next.
It really is the machines because they're outlawed.
Yes, the only thing's changing is the
I will
machines.
make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
And a second?
Second.
Mr. Laurie. Okay, I'll do a road call. Mr. Laurie?
Aye.
Mr. Baker?
Aye.
Mr. Inkledon?
Aye.
And I'll say aye. So that'll be now we have a resolution for the roll. Be it resolved, the Eastchester Board of County appoints Board of, okay. This is just all boilerplate from last year, so this is just basically what we do.
Can I read it, or-
Sure, you're welcome to read it.
I'll read it quickly.
Let me see if we have, yep, that's good. Right down to there. You don't have to read that. You can read it. Okay.
Be resolved that the Board of Fire Commissioners of the Eastchester Fire District, having heretofore appointed a Board of Elections to comply with the registration and voting procedures set forth in Section 175 and 175A of the Town Law, does hereby designate on or about the 28th day of November 2016, between the hours of 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. as the date and time of the meeting of the Board of Elections to prepare registration rolls for the annual election of the Eastchester Fire District. The Fire District election will be held on Tuesday, December 13th, 2016, between the hours of 2 p.m. and 9 p.m. at the following locations: Leroy Gregory, American Legion Post 979 at 40 Bell Road, Scarsdale, New York. It's north end of town, really. Eastchester Town Hall, 40 Mill Road, Eastchester, New York. Tuckahoe Community Center, 77 Columbus Avenue, Tuckahoe, New York. The Bronxville Village Hall, 200 Pondfield Road, Bronxville, and Union Corners Fire Station at 10 Oregon Avenue, Eastchester, New York. Be it further resolved that a legal notice informing the resident electors of the Eastchester Fire District of this meeting be published one time by the Fire District Secretary in the official newspapers of the Eastchester Fire District between November 9th and November 16th, 2016. I would make this motion, Mr.
We have a
Chairman.
second on that motion?
Second.
Mr. Baker, Mr. Laurie. Okay, Mr. Ingledon,
Aye.
Mr. Laurie,
Aye.
Mr. Baker,
Aye.
and I'll say aye. That motion carries.
Excuse me.
Okay, we are also going to be publishing a legal notice, which I have a copy here, which is identical to last year's legal notice, except it has the dates where you have to, the one-year commission seat will run from January 1, 2017 to December 31st, 2021, a 5-year term. You'll have to have your petition in of 25 names no later than November 23rd at 4 p.m. at Eastchester Fire Headquarters. We just read the locations where the voting will take place and the time. The legal notice will break down by district where you will be voting. There's no sense me reading all those districts. There's 10 districts and more confusion than people will get. So that's the legal notice we'll publish. There's one other resolution to this. This is different than last year. This year, the county's requiring us to use and contract with them in a formal contract for the machines, for the moving, for all that kind of stuff. They have a formal kind of contract that they're going to send over. So in knowing that's coming, prepared a resolution that says, the Fire Board Chairman is authorized to execute all documents provided by Westchester County Board of Elections and authorized vendors for use transportation of electronic voting machines for the December 23rd annual 13th annual Fire District election. So this way, when these documents show up in the middle of the month, we can just execute them and get back to them. So, can I get a motion on that?
So be it.
Mr. Laurie, and a second?
I'll second.
Peter, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So that's just, that's how we'll process the, so that's all it for the election. We just need residents who are interested in doing pure public service to step forward and do it. As you heard earlier, we have almost a $17 million budget. We have roughly 75 employees. We have 5 firehouses. Residents in Bronxville, Tuckahoe, and Eastchester are all welcome to join the board. So it's not the Tuckahoe Fire Department, it's not the Eastchester Fire Department, it's not the Bronxville Fire Department, it's all the community's fire department. So whoever wants to join the board is welcome to if you live in the township, provided you go out there and get the votes, which happens every year. Now we'll move on to, since Jamie's here first, Mike, I'm going to let Jamie go first in case she wants to. Do you want to? We have the treasurer's report.
Okay, so everyone was provided with copies of our current snapshot as of current as well as through the end of September. We are currently remaining in a net budget surplus position. Again, most of that is going to be related to the timing of expenses, so certain expenses that won't hit till the end of the year. One area that we discussed at the last meeting, which is for discussion again this evening, is with respect to the overtime budget. We are running over what we had budgeted for 2016. Part of that is, due to the fact that we have additional firefighter positions that are budgeted for that are not filled. So it's, they're kind of balancing each other out. So what we're looking to do at tonight's meeting is move another $50,000 to the overtime line. The recommendation would be the same as last time, to move it from the firefighter salary line, based on what I just explained. And that will, help us, get through the year, and we'll continue to evaluate each payroll and, discuss the overtime again if necessary.
Okay. Jamie and I looked at this earlier today because we had a period of time when we were short one captain, where that increased the overtime line to fill that captain slot for several months, call it 8 months. Well, let's see, it was 6 months, about 6 or 7 months we were shy a captain, and we're shy a couple firemen on our roster. So we can take from those lines, but the overtime line is, we're creeping up above last year, but the problem is I think it's filling slots that are just empty. And we also have had a number of guys on long-term leave, and we had another one this week for a long-term leave, which we'll discuss later.
So if all those slots are filled, would we be running on budget?
On budget, below budget probably, or on budget. We'll probably end up on or below budget and then you got to figure out where the CBA comes in, and then you might change that completely. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, and Jamie provided us with her monthly treasurer's report, a copy thereof, and she provided us with all the bills that her and Mary Lou have put together and processed. So I'll read this resolution. Resolution to transfer from the budget line uniform firefighters line 3410 spot 15 to firefighters overtime 3413 spot 1, $50,000. This is the result of several long-term sicks to cover anticipated 2016 overtime. Motion to accept this transfer of monies as requested by the treasurer. And so that's very similar to what it sounded like last month, because it's the exact same wording. So, Peter, you want to make that motion? And Mr. Laurie, you want to second that?
Aye.
Okay, well, you want to second it? Good. Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And the motion looks just very much like last month. Okay. All righty, Jamie, anything else for us, or are we?
No, just mentioning we do have our PERMA audit coming up in the beginning of November for workers' comp.
Okay. And what that means is PERMA is our workman's compensation provider. Basically, workman's compensation is somewhat of a self-insured business. They come by and they look at your payroll, and they want to confirm your payroll, because you pay based on your payroll, matches their records and your experience rate, and then they get to adjust your rate. Sometimes you get a refund out of this.
Yeah, last year we received a nice refund, as a result of this audit, so
Okay.
we'll see.
Well, good. Thank you, Jamie. And for those who just late tuned in, we passed our budget a few minutes ago.
You want to do the bills now, or you're going to wait?
You want to do the bills now? We can, while you're here, we might as well do the bills. Everybody read them?
I read them.
Ready? Okay. There was one bill I had a question on, and this is more for Mike than you, Jamie. There was a treadmill repair where the belt price seemed excessive. I was almost thinking we should pull that bill out and reconfirm that the price of that belt was what they stated. Does that be okay?
Well, there were two things on it. There was the quarterly service
Yeah, and then there
that
was,
they do all the machines, treadmills, and step mills for the 500.
right.
And
But the belt repair was almost 600 with parts, and if they were already there doing the service to replace a belt, unless I read that wrong, but
well,
it's...
part of the thing was, we tried to time it with the service, because otherwise there's also travel time that would normally be tacked on, but since it was coming for the service, so we avoided a couple of hours of labor by doing it the same day.
Yeah, I was leery of the bill. I mean, I saw the shipping charges were high, the service, to me, I just
Well, the
thought,
problem with shipping, especially the belt, it's heavy, it goes by weight, and it's a big rubber belt. We're not talking about dry belt, we're talking about the running tread belt, and the machine has to be
I saw what it was.
disassembled.
It just that, I wouldn't mind pulling that bill out and have a conversation with them. I just thought it was excessive, just me, I usually, it just looked excessive, that's all. So what do you think?
Well, if Mike says everything else is involved in it, that's not just the belt
No,
costing that, is
that's
that?
a separate charge. The total bill is over $1,000.
Right.
The $500 was for the service
the
of all
belt?
the machines, so the travel was already included because he was coming to do that. So just the belt was, I forget the exact number. but-
500 and change.
I think there's
Right.
some other items on there besides that.
And we'll put it this way, I Googled it, and I didn't come close to that guy's number. So I would just set that one aside, he can wait 30 days while we research it. That's my view. I mean, that's,
I'm okay with
I
that.
research it.
so, if he doesn't like it, well, life goes on. So, okay, with that adjustment made, I'll read the bills. We have one set of vouchers totaling $310,768.18 if we subtract $1,141.74. So I look for a motion to pay $310,768 spot 18 and remove the $1,141 pending review. Anybody like to?
I'll make the motion.
Peter?
Second.
Second, Mr. Baker. All in favor?
Aye.
With the pending review, aye.
Right.
Yeah, we already put that
Yeah,
in.
we'll just look, we'll get a chance to see it next month again.
All right.
That's all. Jamie, thank you very much. Okay, and that was excellent, Jamie. Now, moving on, we've got payment of bills. Chief, how about your report? Mike?
Yeah, no, just before the note.
We already approved the minutes, right?
Excuse me?
We already approved the minutes.
Yeah, minutes ago.
Okay, yes, sir. Month of September activity report. In brief, 273 total alarms, provided mutual aid on 3 occasions. This includes a dual response that we do to the parkways. It's not necessarily responding to a fire. Vehicle maintenance continues with the help of outside vendors, along with minor repairs handled in-house, either by myself or running equipment out to repair or maintenance. This due to our maintenance still being out sick, which I expect to be a little bit longer. Fire Prevention Office, full swing with their annual fire prevention presentations. As we know, over the course of the month, they'll reach thousands of school-age children. This is all throughout the district, in the schools and pre-Ks. They've also provided safety, with the safety trailer, provided Eastchester High School with their annual education presentation. That's over the course of 2 days. They hit all the students, I believe it might be in 6th grade. I forget the grade exactly. They've worked it into their curriculum. It's worked out very well. Of course, this too, with Vinnie out, the moving around of the trailer has been handled by myself, towing it to different locations. That was also for the Touch a Truck on a Saturday and the ICS school during the week. New command vehicle is out on Long Island nearing completion. Finishing touches should be complete in a week or so. Looking forward to this finally coming in. They're just fine-tuning everything and finishing up on the main thing right now is the compartment in the rear seat area to keep the equipment confined, the personal gear. The box and everything else is all good to go. It's actually looking very nice. It should be well serve us here. I would just like to say thank you for the additional overtime to maintain. Actually, these numbers are in line with what I saw going the last time, but we chose to move a small amount at a time. It is on target, if you consider not just, a lack of a relief captain for most of or 7 months, I believe. We also had a captain that was out on long-term sick for a while that had to be covered, and we are down a couple firefighters, so we're just maintaining, but we did get hit over the summer with some extended leaves that made it a little more difficult, but again, if we had those positions filled in a roster, a lot of this wouldn't have been incurred, so by using that salary is appropriate. Thank you. I'm just going to end up with sort of a repeat of last month due to the time of year. Of course, today's weather and tomorrow, you might not realize it, winter is near. Like I said, it's a good time. Make sure your heating systems are in good order. It's a good time to get them checked. We did already have a few in that little cold snap with problems with CO or flus that were not working properly. And again, I'll reiterate, just Commissioner Laurie often also notes with the leaves coming down, piling the leaves, they haven't really hit yet. Please do not cover or obstruct the hydrants. It's your life that's on the line, your neighbors' lives. We need to get those hydrants in seconds. It's not a location for leaves and trash and debris to be piled on. So with that, we'll be done.
Okay. Thank you, Chief, for your report. And now we'll move on to, we have committee reports, if we wanted to go down the committee reports.
Sure.
Mr. Baker, career firefighters?
We're still going back and forth with the CBA and all that other stuff. I'd note that Captain Pinto's mother passed away.
Correct.
And we would like to offer our condolences to him. I sent something out earlier, but I wasn't able to attend the service because I was on military duty, but I know it affected him greatly, and our thoughts and prayers are with him and his family. Also, I would like to compliment the union on their participation in the Columbus Day Carnival. They had a nice little setup there, and they were swamped with kids throwing fastballs and stuff, and it was... I know why I'm a career first baseman, and that's why I didn't get involved, but my son enjoyed it very much, and guys in the department were doing a great job, so thank them for us. They really, they were having a ball and making it fun, so that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Laurie, volunteers?
I also like to express my sympathy to Captain Pinto and his family upon the loss of his mom. And I'm sure our hearts go out to all of them in that family. I also spoke to our maintenance man, Mr. Spadaro. He was in the hospital doing therapy today, and he's still on the road to recovery, so our prayers are still with him. This here is a trophy that the volunteers won at the Mamaroneck Day Parade for the hose cart. We won last year for the best band that we had. I forgot to bring that, but this is this year's trophy one from the hose cart. Also, I'd like to say that I attended the Career Firefighters Memorial Service on Saturday. Stephen, very well done, as always.
Yeah.
A real tribute to those men who passed away. I'm sure we miss them all. And as the chief says, it just seems that there's one gardener on the top of Waller Street. In fact, yesterday I was walking with my grandson. I had to move. He had a couple of bags piled right on top of the hydrant. I don't think the man understands safety, but it's constantly that one fire hydrant on the top of Wallace and Underhill. He just, whenever he finishes doing his customers around there, just right on top of that hydrant. And I really wish I could catch him. I would notify the police on him. Other than that, I think that's about it that I got.
Okay.
What's that?
Someone's got to get,
Now, I'll tell you what the problem is.
Gentlemen, let's not go back and forth like that. You have the floor.
that's what I said, that it's that one hydrant that really irritates me. I don't understand that, how people just cover it and walk away like nothing's happening. God forbid, if that house or any houses around there have an emergency, the firemen first have to remove all the stuff around there before they have to connect, and let's hope that never happens.
I think Ms.
Yeah, I thank you, Commissioner Laurie, for bringing up the career firefighters memorial. I'm sorry I missed it. I was on the rifle and pistol range at Fort Devens, and after the way I shot, I would have been better served to be with you guys. I did qualify, but I made last year's, and it was just a really stirring and moving ceremony, and the way it was done would make soldiers and military personnel jealous. It was really good. I imagine it was just as good this year, and I look forward to it next year. So my apologies for not being there, but it's something really. It's a fantastic thing. And on the volunteers, my neighbors asked me. Apparently, there was a very interesting article in the local newspaper about a antique fire truck.
In 1929 American La France, I think it was highlighted.
Yeah, which
It's
is
right here, if you want it.
Yeah. We don't own that truck, do we?
No.
Okay. 'Cause the article had it, and this was, people were coming up to me saying, hey, it's great. It's great. It's a historic landmark or historic artifact, but we don't own it. It's not ours. And yeah, I saw the article. It was in the Eastchester Review. Yeah. I think it's great, but it's not ours. We don't have it on our books. It's not our truck.
We don't insure it. We don't own it. It was stored in the Chester Heights Firehouse for years, and I think years ago we couldn't figure out whether it was owned by a fire company or individuals privately. So we, it moved on from the firehouse when we couldn't verify the ownership. And so the Eastchester Fire District, to my knowledge, has nothing to do with that rig.
Okay. I just wanted to clear that up because I was like, okay, it's not in the budget, and
Yeah, it's not us.
we're not paying insurance on it, are we, or anything
No,
like
we're
that?
not paying insurance, we're not paying a dime to restore it. I would hope no benevolent funds are being used to restore it. I would hope no taxpayer funds are being used to restore it, because I don't know who owns it. I have no idea. Yeah, so that's volunteers.
Okay.
Okay, house and apparatus. Peter, you want to go on where we're at? You got 2 items tonight, I guess.
Sure. We're meeting next week with FSI to just finalize a few last open items on their design plans for the exterior renovation in Chester Heights. Just again, the scope of the work there is, it's all exterior. The main components are removal and replacement of the roof, removal and replacement of windows, and repair of most of the facade, removal and replacement of other parts of the facade that can't be repaired. We hope to have those drawings done and bid packets prepared by the middle of November. Be able to make the required advertisements about their availability and have them available for pickup somewhere in the middle to end of November. Because of the holidays, we'll probably have bids due on that project on January 31st. That's our current tentative date. And then after that, we hopefully will be able to choose a winning bidder shortly thereafter and try to schedule the work to begin as soon as weather permits in the spring. So that's where we stand on that. We've done a fair amount of work speaking to both the sales representatives at KME as well as the principals at Ruscon Truck Service, just going over which brand is the most reliable, durable, easiest to repair, easiest to work with the manufacturer, easiest to get parts. And consensus seems to be around KME as a manufacturer. So we're going to begin to move forward with a build of three pumpers by KME. The sales rep from KME will work in conjunction with the chief and hopefully the captains, as well as the people at Ruscon, to put together a spec on those that are going to serve the department's needs. At that point, as Dennis mentioned earlier, we are going to look. We've been reserving money, for apparatus over a long period of time. We knew this day was coming when we were going to have to replace this equipment. We are going to we're still exploring a couple of different options. We are going to pay cash. Whether or not we go out with a competitive bid on this apparatus is still to be determined. We may look to either, find a roughly similar / identical build that's been put out competitively in the state of New York in the last 12 months and just piggyback on that, or we may employ the services of a, municipal buying cooperative, which is probably the best way to describe it is Costco. You pay a membership fee. They've already negotiated prices for all different kinds of builds and specific options, and the state of New York basically recognizes them as having negotiated fair prices, and that would eliminate the need to go out with a competitive bid on the build.
Yeah, if you build a fire, this is not a fire truck build, but if you build a fire truck, your spec looks something like about that thick for when you build a fire truck. And the number of options are endless. So, and you have to spec out everything from every individual light, switch, door handle, bumper, everything has to be independently spec'd. So I think there's a cottage industry that's come out in the last several years that go out and try to do cookie cutter type apparatus, and New York State seems to recognize these as bona fide cooperative purchasers. And so that's what we're going to try to see if we can get more information and go down that road rather than go out independent RFP for a fire engine. Use a cooperative state-approved purchasing plan.
Yeah.
So, now on another note, the last time we built a KME engine was engine 29 in Bronxville, and that was a fairly unique engine because it was smaller wheelbase. We wanted it for the Hilltop. That was delivered in 2009, I think, or 2010. The build of that was done with, I think Captain Hart was working back then?
Captain Hart pretty much led up that apparatus
So
committee.
we had a captain who was willing to head up an apparatus committee, and we had a number of firemen who also were on the committee. And they basically, because the idea was these fellows are going to be using it, or these persons are going to be using it, they would know better than we would know of how to outfit that rig. And that rig, I think, has been perfectly fine. There's been some question that at the time we put springs in the suspension instead of air shocks, and there's been some pushback on the springs, give it a hard ride. So I think going forward, we'll put air shocks in these rigs. But we would like a collaborative effort from the department membership for input into building this thing. And that's what we're trying to accomplish, just as we did in the past with the captain and the volunteer, and the members, not volunteers, the career members who provided input to the chief and formed an apparatus committee. We would like a somewhat, we want to get this thing moving relatively quickly, so I think
Do you
the
have
board,
an idea what 3 engines are going to cost?
about anywhere between $550 and call it $600,000 an engine.
Each.
Each. Yeah. I mean, there were 4 engines delivered for $480. There was an engine delivered to West Harrison for $610. There's a wide range, but volunteer companies tend to have more elaborate kind of things on their apparatus. Career companies tend to have more bare bones. We are going to look for something that's utilitarian and functional, and so we're probably going to be in that, I'm told we're in that 500 to 550 range.
Yeah, I think we're also going to reap the benefit of a bulk purchase because we're ordering, 3 at once.
3, yeah.
And also, we probably will look to take advantage of a prepaid discount. If you pay in full and performance is secured by a performance bond by the manufacturer, you can get an, additional discount of up to, 4% on the price of the,
That is something, yeah.
Each engine or
each one.
each engine, 4%?
4% of
for the total,
1.8 million, put it that way.
In the past, we always went out to bid with no money expended until the final product was received, even though we require a performance bond. And yes, you pay a premium, if you want to do it that way, as opposed to paying upfront some of the cost. It's like taking out a loan in a way.
Well, my understanding is that most people are paying for them up front, even if they finance them and they lease them. they'll start the lease at the time the purchase order is placed, even though they're not taking delivery for 9 to 11 months afterwards, just because it's the discounts to do that are worth more than paying the lease for a period of 10 months.
I think the bottom line there is a municipality has a better credit rating than the manufacturer, and he can bond out the spread cheaper than, he can arbitrage that spread by have us buying a bond, or he issues the bond. So I think that's it. So that's where we're going to be at. We're going to try to buy 3 pieces of apparatus, but we would like the chief, and the chief is perfectly, my opinion, the chief would spend some overtime to get this done in a very short window. We're talking a very short window to get this spec done. We have a spec that we think is close, that was drafted a few years ago, and if members want to volunteer to the chief to be on this committee for, we're looking to have this done in a matter of a month or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple of months.
Yeah, in short time frame. Take our existing spec we did back a while ago, or a KME spec, go through it, see if it's still applicable, and move on. The only thing different from we did 4 years ago, battery-operated tools are more prolific than they were 4 years ago, so you might have Jaws of Life, may not need an onboard generator and a pump and a hydraulic system where you can use battery-operated Hamatro tools and Jaws of Life, where in the past you may not have been able to do that 3 or 4 years ago as easily. So, anything else, Peter?
That's all.
That's all. Budget and finance, we've already discussed. We got the budget passed. Health and wellness, I don't have anything to report there. Tonight's business, we've already discussed the purchase of equipment. We have to purchase an additional extraction tool, Mike, when you get, I know you're waiting for the membership.
Well, I
to
was
advise
hoping
you,
for
but-
a written opinion from the groups that had the opportunity of trying both. That has not been forthcoming, so I'll just have to,
Make an executive decision.
pretty much, and I guess that's what they want, so then they can say I got the wrong one, but that's okay.
Okay. There's only 2 options, right? It's Hamatro or Hearst.
Pretty much. I mean, there are some others, but right now I'm leaning the Hamatro, I think is a better way to go.
Okay, then buy a Hamatro tool.
Yeah, do whatever you got to do, let's just get
Yeah,
it.
that's all. Just try to give them a say in their tools,
So
but,
maybe by next month's meeting, you can tell us you bought a Hamatro tool.
yes.
Okay. Retiring the Crown Vic. We have a blue former police car referred to as the Crown Vic. We don't need that car anymore because the assistant chief's car can now go to fire prevention. And so we have an extra vehicle around. So the Crown Vic is really just it's not called for to have it anymore.
Okay.
What do you think?
Do you think we need it, or?
I know they use a lot, that the 2103's been a backup. We have a few backup vehicles, and when the new command vehicle gets here, I would say then would probably
Okay,
make more
within-
sense. Once we have that all in place, we maybe could get a couple dollars for it. I don't know. I think it's around 2001.
2,000. We just spent $1,400 servicing it. So it's a Crown
Yeah,
Vic with a new
which-
intake manifold.
I wouldn't have done if I knew.
Awesome.
Yeah, I would not have gone through that if I knew we were getting rid of it right away, but.
Yeah, well, when the new...
We'll get some use out of it, and then maybe we'll be able to get, because it's been serviced well, should be able to get a few dollars for it.
Well, let's keep that in mind, that we're going to try to get rid of it and get it off the books and save money, but
If the
when
Bronx-
appropriate.
It will soon be surplus, and,
Right, so when the
It's
new
sorry,
vehicle
just-
shows up, let's plan to move that down the road.
okay.
And I mentioned earlier, no bond as needed, no bonding is required or needed. On the minutes I have here, an update of legal matters. We have several legal matters going on. We're still going back and forth on our lawsuit, not our lawsuit, the town's lawsuit against the fire district is still out there. We had a motion for summary judgment asking the court to throw out the case. The court has not thrown out the case, so that case will go on. It's not an Article 78, it's a straight lawsuit, so that's going to give it a longer life than an Article 78, I think.
Correct.
And so we can expect this to be with us for years and probably end up in the appellate division, which is something we'll discuss later.
All the decision is that, just so for those scoring at home, it didn't decide anything one way or the other. It just said that there's a triable question of fact, which the firefighter in the red shirt over there understands, Mr. Ranelone. He gets this one. So it's game on, you keep playing, and there's no, decision.
There's no light, there's no
Yeah.
light at the end of the tunnel. This legal bills will keep on clicking away. And we are the defendant in that. We didn't bring that action.
Right.
Town board did. The second thing we have going on, we have 2 lawsuits pending against the volunteer, the VOA, and the Benevolent Association. A judge ruled back in, I guess, about 2 or 3 months ago now, 2 months ago now, but basically that both organizations need to comply with FOIL. Both organizations, they believe, are public documents. I thought it was a well-crafted opinion by the judge. I thought it was fait accompli when I saw that, but we're still waiting for a final decision.
Right.
So, and the judge also was fairly hard on the judge also asked for the emails to be released between one of the board members and the other lawyer, which is an unusual thing to have to get accomplished. But those emails we now have, they're public record if anybody wants them, because they've been released by a court. So that's been done. We have a number of employee-related matters where several grievances by the union that are going to either, like a contract, we're in contract negotiations now. I spent most of all day Friday in a PESH hearing, and that in November we'll have another PESH hearing, and that's over the CBA, or it's collective bargaining. We have final year averaging. I know that somebody spoke at the town board. I didn't see it. I only heard secondhand about it. That says that the fire district's missing $7 million and all this kind of craziness. The fact is, the union has brought a case, a PERB case, I guess it's called, asking to enforce what they believe is a term in a contract. We don't believe that term's there. That binds us to do this in rough language. New York State provided us a letter saying if you did this, it would cost $5.2 million to make that change. If you did it over 7 years, it would cost roughly $7 million. There is no money missing. It's if we elect to do this different pension system plan, the district will be hit with a bill that could cost us $7 million or $5.2 million. We've discussed it at other meetings. So our accounting is excellent. Our bookkeeping is excellent. Our record keeping is excellent. All that is very, very good. And so when somebody rambles at a town board meeting with facts that are just, they're just not even close.
They're not facts.
They're not facts. They're allegations that are just crazy. I mean, just nuts. People shouldn't take those seriously, and they should just judge where they're coming from and say to themselves, okay, that's just not it. We're welcome to read our budgets, our audited financials and all that stuff. We are in great, great financial condition, and we are so because we have a very responsible board. So, but we're still have this threat over us on if the union prevails at this hearing, it could really, really impede our financial condition. So we believe we'll prevail, they believe they prevail, or else they wouldn't have brought the challenge, and that's just being worked through the system. And it works through a unique system called Public Relations Board, the New York State Public Relations Board. Public Employees Relation Board, I think it is. So,
Hence the PERB.
hence the PERB. And so we probably have 3 or 4 PERB hearings going on at this moment where we're scheduled, and I kind of lose track. I get so many notices on them. But I think the board's doing a very good job defending its position and protecting the taxpayers. I think we're doing what we're supposed to be doing as a board. That's that on the legal updates. Any other comments, or I go to
No, I think I covered
Okay.
everything
Stephen, do you have any comments? No report. Yay. And what I'll say, because Local 916, I did attend the memorial service. As usually, it was very well done. Thank you for inviting me. Commissioner Napolitano was in California, which he is still tonight, and so he wasn't able to attend. But Thank you for inviting me, and it was well done. Okay. Board member comments?
I think public first.
Excuse me?
Take the public first, and then...
Oh, yeah, any public comments? And then we have to go to executive session. I gotta remember to do that.
Commissioners Anthony Fiore, Village of Tuckahoe. Just want everybody to know tomorrow's Tuckahoe Planning Board meeting. They're going to vote on the hotel. So if anybody's got the TV on, tune on channel 75. It's either a yes or no, or they'll postpone it again.
It's not on the same time the debate is it?
7:30 tomorrow.
No, only kidding.
7:30. Could last long, could last a few minutes.
Yeah.
I'll let you guys know whether it be a 5-story, 153-room hotel here or not.
Okay.
We'll see.
Well,
Right?
thank you.
Thanks for bringing that up.
So we have to go into executive session for personnel and all matters. I'm trying to think if there's anything else we've missed here tonight so far. Did I miss?
No one else wants to speak, that's fine.
Anybody else would like to speak, or any other comments?
Okay.
Okay.
Executive session.
Yep, we'll go into executive. So we're going to adjourn to executive session. We could come out of executive session just to say we're closing the meeting, which is likely. Normally we do that. And I don't think we're going to have any vote in executive session or out of executive session. So I'll make a motion. Can I get a motion to go into
Make a
executive?
motion that we adjourn the meeting and go to executive session.
Okay, and what time is it right now?
9:10. Sorry, I got to clear all the text messages for my son.
Okay, and the second on that motion?
Second.
Peter? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So we adjourn to executive session. And before we adjourn completely, I want to thank Mary Lou Falcone for doing all this work she got done here tonight. It was a lot of her effort. Thank you.